Yalla, good morning. Let's start today for our lesson, for lesson 5, which talking about how can we graph the square root function. We talk about the radical expression. Now each number, or each type of expressions like linear, quadratic, radical, they have an expression, they have an equation, and they have a function. If we say like 3x plus 1, this is a radical expression. If we say 3x plus 1 equal 5, this is a radical equation. And if we say y equal square root of 3x plus 1, with this one we call them square root function or radical function. Square root function, that means I'm talking about a function that contains a square root. So 3x plus 1, the variable under the square root, this is the radical expression. If we have a square root of 3x plus 1 equals 5, this is an equation. And if we have y equal 3x plus 1 under the square root, we call this square root function. In this lesson, we will learn how can we graph the square root function, or how can we translate it also horizontal and vertical. This is now the square root function. The square root function is a type of function that containing a square root with the independent variable in the radicand. Here we have the square root of y equal square root. What does it mean? So the parent function y equal square root. We have put tables like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we have now to find the square root of each number. The square root of 0 is 0. The square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 2 is 1.4. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. So you put the numbers, you find the square root for them. The square root for them will be y. Is it clear? That's the first step. Now I will not ask you to graph it, but I just you to know how to graph it. Okay, grade 8?
Okay, teacher.
Yes.
So here you have to put the values of x. You have to find the square root for them. The square root for them, it will be y. Then after that, you plug them. At 0, 0. At 1 is 1. At 2, it's 1.4. At 4, it's 2. At 9, it is 3. At, like, as an example, here we have 16. At 16, it will be 4. Then you will connect between the points. You will get this shape. This is for square root of x. By now, we talk about if we have y equal x, which is the linear function. This is the shape for the linear function. If we talk about y equal x squared, we say that it's like U shape. If I'm talking about y equal x cubic, it's like, it should be like this. What did we talk also? Exponential function.
Yes, teacher. Exponential function.
How the exponential function will be?
Teacher, it will be not straight, like
in a curved way.
It's going to be a curved line.
Yeah, so this is come like not E, sorry. It is b to the power x, is right? We took them as b to the power x or x to the power b. And it comes like this. Is right here, cancel. Oh no. Well, so it could be like this, or sorry. This will be now for the exponential function. So we talk about linear, we talk about quadratic, we talk about exponential. Today we'll talk about the square root function. Don't forget, it comes like this. This is the square root function. It started from the 0 up. Now, as you see here, it cannot be or the numbers or the square root of x. It must be greater than 0. There's no square root of 9, which is -4. So don't forget, the square root of x, it must be greater than 0, as you see here. So this is the function or the graph for the parent for the square root function. I will plot the numbers. It comes like this. This is for square root of x. This is, I want you to know how the graph for square root of x will be. Now, is it clear?
yes, teacher, it's clear.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, now let's find the domain. Let's learn now here, how can we find the domain of the square root function? The domain, I mean by the x values that will be, that is, make the function true or the correct. So how can we find the domain? Look at me now. The first step to find the domain for the square root function, in this lesson we will learn how can we find the domain, how can we graph it, as we see here, and how can we find or graph the horizontal and the vertical translate, or how the vertical and horizontal translation will be. Let's learn now how can we find the domain, which is the important part in this lesson. To find the domain of the square root function, for the y equals 3x plus 1, what the domain? For the linear function.
Teacher, there is no voice.
Sorry?
No, teacher, there were no voice.
Why?
Teacher, you were writing domain, then like maybe you closed the mic without mistake.
No. So now, did you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So if y is 3x plus 1, this is a linear function. So what the domain will be?
It will be greater than 0. X.
If it is linear, it is all real numbers.
Yes, all real numbers.
Yeah, if I try -1, if I try 0.7, if I try negative square root of 1, of 3, all of them, it can be, all of them, I can evaluate it and find y. If I'm talking about y equals x squared plus 1 as an example, what's the domain will be?
Also, teacher, all real
All
numbers.
real numbers, bravo. It is all real numbers. I can try any number. I can try -1, I can try 7, I can try 0.3, any number. If I'm talking about e to the power x, sorry, not e, b to the power x, or the exponential function, how the domain will be?
All real numbers.
Yeah, if I try 0.1, -1, there's no any problem. So all real numbers. So if I'm talking about linear, quadratic, exponential, any n value function, there's no problem with any number. But in the square root function, I cannot use any number. I cannot say the square root of -4.
Means only.
I can say the square root of 0.7. I can find the square root of 4. So the domain for the square root function, for the square root of x, it must be greater than or equal 0. Or the values, it must be greater than or equal 0. It cannot be any real number. Any real number, that's mean I'm talking about positive and negative numbers. So if I'm talking about linear, quadratic, exponential, I can use any number. But in the square root number, in the square root function, I cannot use any number. I must use only the positive and 0 numbers. This is for it. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher. It's clear.
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Good.
miss.
So don't forget the domain, as you see here before the part. The tree from 0. We start from 0. We cannot start from -4 or -9. We must start from 0. That means the domain, it will be, or it must be greater than 0. Let's now, so if we have a square root of x, I'd say x, it must be greater than 0. What about if we have like this one here, or like this one here, 3x minus 9 under the square root? What can I do? First step, here look at this function. We have y equals square root, 2 square root of 3x minus 9. To find the domain, look at the number under the square root. What does it mean? This 2, don't look at it. Look only at the number under the square root, or the equation or the expression under the square root. Which expression is under the square root?
3x
3x minus 9.
Bravo. Take the 3x minus 9 only. And as I told you, if I'm talking about the domain of square root function, it must be greater than or equal 0. It cannot be negative. All of you, did you understand why the domain cannot be negative?
Yes, teacher, because square root numbers, it cannot be negative number.
Yes, I
square root
cannot
of a
say,
negative number.
I cannot find the square root for any negative number. So I must say that the square root function is greater than or equal 0. But okay, this is for 3x minus 9. I want for x only. It's like inequality. What I have to do first? Plus 9, plus 9.
Plus 9.
And after that, what did we have? We have 3x greater than or equals 9.
9.
Then
Divide by 3. Divide by 3.
I want it as x. Talk about the domain, so I'm talking about x. I'm not talking about 3x. So what I have to do now?
Divide by 3. Both
Divide by
sides.
3. Divide by 3. Bravo. Then, so x, it will be greater or equal
Than 3.
3. So what does this mean? That means the domain of the function is a set of real numbers that is greater than or equal 3.
3.
This is the domain of this function. So x greater than or equal 3, that means the domain of this function will be all the real numbers that is greater than or equal 3. Is it clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
yes. Yes,
Let's
teacher.
solve now another example. Here we have y is the square root of negative 2x plus 5. To find the domain, I must write this one first. That must be greater than 0. Then look at the numbers and of the expression under the square root. Where's the expression under the square root?
Negative 2x
Negative
plus 5.
2x plus 5.
Bravo. It's negative 2x plus 5. Then the second step, minus 5, minus 5. I want to isolate x. I want to keep x on side and the other numbers on the other side to find the domain. So here, as we say, we have negative 2x greater than or equals negative 5. And after that, what we have to do?
Divide by 2, x equal, x is equal or greater than 2.5.
So let's divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2.
Yes.
Okay. So what did we have now? We have x and
Greater than.
great. Okay, before that, negative 5 over negative 2 is 2.5. Now, did you remember if we want to solve the inequality and we divide by negative number? If we divide by negative number, how the sign here? Does it keep this? Does it will be the same or we have to change it?
We have to flip it.
Flip it.
Bravo, we have to flip it. Why? I will repeat. Since I divide x into a negative number, so we must flip the sign. So greater than or equal, it will be less than or equal. So x, it will be less than or equal 2.5. So what does it mean? That means the domain is all real numbers that is less than or equal 2.5.
Even teacher, the negative numbers.
No, as I told you, the real numbers that is greater than. It must be greater than 0 and less than 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, you can write like this. The previous one, here we can write it like this. From 3 to infinity. All the numbers starting from 3, this closed sign, that means 3 is included. So from 3 up to infinity. Here, it's only from 0 up to 2.5. And the 0 and the 2.5, it can be included.
Okay.
Okay? Let's have another example.
Okay.
Let's solve now number 7 here. Number 7, y equals half square root of x. Now, where's the functions that under the square root?
It's x, teacher.
Only
X
x.
only, yes. So we took x, we said x is greater than 0. So this is now will be the domain. That's it. Number 8, y equals square root of x plus 2. What's the domain here?
Also, teacher, it will be x greater than
before that, where's the number under the square root?
x.
It is
X plus
only.
2.
So we say x. No, it's only x. Be careful here. It's only x. So we say x is greater than or equal 0. Let's solve now number 10. In number 10 here, y is 3 square root of x over 3. Where's the expression under the square root?
X over 3.
So we
over
put
3.
x over 3. It must be greater than 0. All the functions or all the square root function, don't forget to write greater than 0. Then after that, what do you have to do here? It is x over 3. So I have to multiply by 3, multiply by 3. So x, it will be greater than or equal 0. So here the domain, it will be all the real functions from 0 to infinity, or greater than or equal 0.
Yes.
Let's solve now number 11. In number 11 here, we have y equals 2.7 times x plus 2 plus 11. Look at this one here now. Where's the functions that under the square root?
X plus 2.
X plus
Only
2.
x plus 2. Bravo. So I will take x plus 2 and I will continue. That is greater than or equal 0. Then minus 2. Minus 2. X, it will be greater than or equals what?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. So what does it mean? That means I'm talking about the numbers that is gray, or the real numbers that are greater than or equals negative 2.
Like from teacher, negative 2, negative 1, 0, then infinity.
Yeah, bravo. Yes.
Teacher, can you take the page again?
Yes, but here, sorry, this one for x is less than or equal 2.5. That's mean all the real numbers included or also negative number. Because if you try negative 4 times negative 2, it is 8 plus 5, 13. We can find the square root of 13. So Farah here, stop here only, okay? X is less than or equal 2.5, including the negative numbers.
Okay.
For x only. But for the whole function, it must be greater than 0. So you have, I want to first, yeah, you have to stop here. At x equal, or x is less than or equal 2.5.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, now who asked me to repeat 11? Number 11?
Maybe Basma, teacher.
Me, teacher, me.
I want you to repeat, I want number 11.
No, I was wanting to write it.
Ah,
Class, I
okay.
finished.
Now, number 13. Okay, do you have any question now for number 7, 8, 10, and 11?
Yeah, isn't this negative 2? We have to change the sign, right?
No, if you divide by negative 2, you have to change the sign.
Ah, okay.
Divide by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. Let's now.
So in got one, we haven't changed the sign, right?
We got it one. No, look, here
Yes.
we divide by negative number. Since
Yes.
we divide by the negative number, we have to flip the sign. Look at number 13. In number 13 here, we have 4 over 7 square root of 18 minus 6. Now, which number is under the square root?
18 minus x.
18 minus x. So 18 minus x, it must be greater than or equal 0. Then minus 18, minus 18. What did we have now? We have negative x greater than or equals negative 18.
Negative.
Right?
Divide by negative. Yes. Divide by negative
Look at
1.
here, Bisma. Since you divide by negative 1 by divide by negative 1, since you divide by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. I repeat, divide by negative number, you have to flip the sign or flip the equality. So x less than or equal 18. So what does it mean? That's mean here the domain, sorry, is all the real numbers less than or equal 18. Is it clear now?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, let's solve now number
Yes,
14.
teacher.
Let's solve now number 14. Y equals square root of 3x plus 9 minus 6. Now, where's the expression under the square root?
3x plus 9.
3x plus 9 greater than or equal 0 minus 9 minus 9. And what did we have? We have 3x greater than or equal negative 9
3x
over 3 over 3. I divide by positive number. So no need to flip the sign. No need. So x is greater than or equals negative 3.
Okay, teacher.
Okay. Now I want you now, we have 10 minutes left. I want you now to give you an examples and I'm waiting your answer. Okay. Let's solve.
Teacher, can I send it in the chat here?
Yes. In the chat, not on WhatsApp. Okay. Y.
Okay.
Square root of x minus 7. And y equal square root of 7 minus x. This is A, B, and C.
Teacher, how can I send you on the chat? We don't have the equality mark.
Write it as a
Sign,
greater equal.
Oh,
Write
okay.
it as a word.
Okay.
The first one who solved them, solve the 3 questions correctly, will get +1 mark. Okay, the first one who solved them correctly get +1 mark.
We have x
7.
minus 7.
So I look at the numbers under the square root, which is x minus 7. It must be greater than or equals to 0. So that's mean x is greater than or equals 7. This is for the first one. Look at the second one here. I look at 7 minus x. Greater than or equals 0. Minus 7. Minus 7. I want to keep x first, then the equality sign, then the numbers. So what can I do? What I have to do? I have to subtract 7 from the both terms. So negative x is greater than or equal negative 7. But I have negative x. I don't know negative x. I want x. So I have to
Divide by
divide by
negative
negative 1. Since I'm dividing by negative numbers, I have to flip the sign.
The sign.
So
sign.
it will be s less than or equal 7. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes.
teacher, it's clear.
Yes, miss, it's clear.
Now let's solve C. And C here, I have to look at 4 minus 2x only, which is greater than or equal 0. Minus 4, minus 4. What did I get now?
Negative 2x
Negative 2x.
greater than or equals
Greater
negative
than
4.
0, greater than negative 2.
Yes, we have. And negative 2x greater than or equal negative 4. Dividing by negative numbers, x and
Flip the
2,
sign.
it will flip the sign. So it will be all real numbers less than or equals 2.
So teacher,
Is it clear?
Yes, teacher, it's clear.
Teacher.